My chosen one, stop scrolling. This is not a coincidence. This is not just another message. This is a divine interruption, an urgent command sent directly to you. You didn't find this by accident. You were guided here, at this exact moment, for a reason that is about to shake everything you thought you understood about your life. On May 29th, Archangel Michael says 2 people in your own family are secretly taking the money that was meant for you. I'm not asking you to open this. I'm ordering you. Feel that weight for a second. This is not gentle guidance. This is not a soft whisper. This is authority. This is protection. This is truth breaking through silence. There has been something hidden in your life, something you couldn't quite explain. Maybe you felt it in your spirit, a strange heaviness when it comes to your finances. Doors that should have opened for you stayed shut. Opportunity that felt right slipped away without reason. And deep down, you sensed something wasn't right, but you couldn't prove it. You questioned yourself. You stayed quiet. You tried to move on. But heaven did not stay silent. Archangel Michael, the protector, the warrior of truth, has stepped forward with a message that cannot be ignored any longer. This is not about fear. This is about revelation. Because what hath been hidden in darkness is now being pulled into the light. 2 people, not strangers, not outsiders, but individuals within your own family circle have been involved in something that has directly affected your path. This isn't random. This isn't small. This is something that has been quietly unfolding while you were being distracted, while you were trusting, while you were trying to build your life with honesty. And here's what makes this moment so powerful. This message is reaching you right on time. Not too early, not too late. Exactly when your spirit is ready to receive it. You may feel a sudden shift inside you right now. A mix of disbelief, curiosity, maybe even a slight discomfort. That's because truth has a frequency. And when it touches your spirit, it awakens something deep within you. Something that says, pay attention, this matters. Do not dismiss this feeling, because this is the moment where everything begins to change. For too long, things have been happening behind the scenes. For too long, what was meant for you have been delayed, redirected, or quietly taken. But that season of silence is coming to an end. The divine is stepping in, and Archangel Michael is making it clear. What belongs to you will not remain hidden any longer. You are not being warned to create fear. You are being prepared for revelation. And listen carefully, not everyone around you is who they appear to be. Some smiles have hidden intentions. Some actions have carried unseen consequences. But you are no longer walking in the dark. This message is your awakening. Something is about to be exposed. Something that will connect the dots you've been trying to understand for so long. And when it does, you will finally see why certain things happened the way they did. Stay with this message. Do not turn away now. Because what comes next will open your eyes in a way you were never prepared for, but absolutely destined to receive. Listen closely, because what is being revealed now is not something the physical eye can easily detect. Divine messages do not always arrive with noise or obvious signs. Sometimes they come in silence, in subtle shifts, in moments like this where your spirit feels stirred for no clear reason. This is how the spiritual realm communicates, when something hidden must finally come to light. Right now, there is a shift happening around you. You may not see it yet, but you can feel it. There is a stirring in your energy, a quiet tension in your surroundings, as if something is being uncovered layer by layer. This is not imagination. This is the beginning of a spiritual unveiling. Archangel Michael is not only a protector, but also a revealer of truth. And when truth begins to surface, It often exposes things that have been operating in secrecy for far too long. What you are dealing with is not just a physical situation involving money. It is deeper than that. It is spiritual interference. It is an unseen disruption in the flow of what was meant to reach you. There are moments in life when blessings are delayed for reasons we cannot understand. You may have told yourself that it was just bad timing, or that things would eventually work out. But what if those delays were not natural? What if something was quietly interfering, redirecting what was meant for you without your awareness? This is where the warning becomes clear. There has been a pattern. Think back carefully. Times when you were expecting financial relief, and it never arrived. Situations where resources seemed to vanish or become inaccessible. Promises that were made but never fulfilled. At first, it felt like coincidence. But now, you are being asked to look again, with awakened eyes. Because this was not random. There is an energy connected to money that goes beyond numbers and transactions. Money carries intention. It carries purpose. And when something meant for you is diverted, it doesn't just affect your finances. It affects your path, your timing, your opportunities. It creates confusion. It causes delay. It keeps you in cycles that were never meant to be yours. This is what Archangel Michael is bringing into your awareness. You have been walking through a season where things didn't align the way they should have. You may have worked hard, stayed honest, kept your intentions pure, yet still found yourself struggling in areas where you expected growth. That disconnect you felt, that quiet frustration you carried, it had a source. And now, that source is being exposed. But understand this clearly. This message is not here to make you react in anger or fear. It is here to awaken your awareness. Because once you become aware, you cannot be controlled in the same way again. Once you see what has been hidden, it loses its power over you. This is the beginning of clarity. And with clarity comes a shift in your spirit. You will begin to notice things you overlooked before. Words that didn't quite add up. Behaviors that felt slightly off. Moments where something didn't sit right in your soul, but you ignored it out of trust or love. Now, those moments will return to your mind, but this time with understanding. Do not ignore these realizations, because the truth is, what has been happening did not start yesterday. It has been building over time, quietly, strategically, and all the while, you were being kept in the dark. But not anymore. Archangel Michael's presence in this moment is not passive. He is active. He is intentional. He is not just observing. He is intervening. He is positioning things in a way that truth cannot remain hidden any longer. And here is what you must hold on to. Nothing that has been taken or diverted from you is lost forever. What was meant for you still carries your name, your energy, your destiny. It may have been delayed, but it has not been erased. This is why this moment matters so much, because the unveiling has begun. And as it continues, you will start to see exactly how deep this situation goes and who is truly connected to it. The pieces will come together, one by one, and when they do, there will be no more confusion. Only truth. Stay alert. Stay grounded. And most importantly, stay open. Because what is about to be revealed next will go deeper than you expect, and it will begin to uncover the hidden hands behind everything that has been happening. There is a moment when truth stops whispering and begins to speak clearly. This is that moment. What hath been hinted at is now stepping forward with greater clarity, and your spirit is being prepared to recognize it without confusion. You have already felt that something was not right, and now that feeling is about to take shape in a way that cannot be ignored. Archangel Michael is revealing that this situation is not random, and it is not caused by distant forces. It is closer than you imagined. It involves two individuals within your own family circle, two people who have had access, influence, or awareness of something that was meant for you. This is why the energy has felt so personal. This is why the disruption has followed you in a way that felt targeted, even when you could not explain it. But listen carefully, because this revelation is not meant to push you into suspicion of everyone around you. It is meant to sharpen your discernment. There is a difference between fear and awareness, and right now, you are being lifted into awareness. These two individuals have not acted loudly or openly. Their actions have been subtle, layered, and hidden beneath normal interactions. On the surface, everything may have appeared ordinary. Conversations felt normal. Relationships seemed intact. But beneath its surface, something else was unfolding quietly. Jealousy can grow in silence. So can entitlement. When someone sees your potential, your blessings, or what is meant for you, it can stir something within them that they do not always handle with integrity. Instead of celebrating you, they begin to justify taking what they believe they deserve. And when that mindset takes root, it does not always show itself immediately. It hides. It waits. It moves in ways that are difficult to detect. This is the nature of what has been happening. You may now begin to reflect on certain interactions that once seemed harmless. Moments where something felt slightly off but not enough to question. Times when information passed through certain people, or when access was given too easily. These are not random memories. They are pieces of a larger picture that is now coming together. And here is the truth that may feel difficult to accept. This has been ongoing. Not just a single moment or isolated incident, but a pattern that has repeated over time. Small actions that built into larger consequences. Quiet decisions that created real impact in your life. This is why the effect has been so noticeable, even if the cause remained hidden. But understand this deeply. You are not being shown this truth to carry anger in your heart. You are being shown this so that the cycle can end. Because what remains hidden continues to operate. But what is exposed loses its ability to function in the same way. Archangel Michael stands as a guardian of justice, and his presence here means that this situation has reached a turning point. The hidden hands are no longer protected by silence. The truth is no longer being covered. What was done in secrecy is now being brought into divine awareness, and that changes everything. You may feel a mixture of emotions rising within you right now. Confusion, disbelief, even a sense of betrayal. These feelings are natural when something hidden is revealed. But do not let those emotions control your response. Instead, let them guide you toward clarity. Because clarity is your power in this moment. The truth will not harm you. It will free you. It will show you where your energy has been affected, where your path has been altered, and where your attention must now shift. You are being repositioned, not punished. You are being awakened, not broken. And as this awakening continues, you will begin to see not only what has been taken, but also what is being restored. Because divine justice does not only expose, it also corrects. It realigns. It returns what belongs to you in ways that go beyond what was lost. So stand firm in this moment. Do not shrink back from what you are beginning to understand. Do not deny what your spirit is confirming within you. Because this is the point where everything begins to change. Type "I see the truth" clearly in the comments if this message is reaching your spirit. Blessing code 4592 is now activated. And as this truth settles into your heart, recognize this: when light reveals what was hidden, it also creates an opening for greater light to flow. If you feel called in this moment to help this message reach others who are still in darkness, follow that calling. There are souls who are waiting for confirmation, just like you were. When you release your support through Super Thanks or through the PayPal link in the description and QR code, you are not just giving. You are sowing into the awakening of others. The word says, "Give, and it shall be given unto you, pressed down, shaken together, and running over." This is your moment to act in alignment. Step into it with faith, and watch how blessings begin to move toward you in ways you did not expect. There is a question rising in your spirit right now, and it is one that cannot be ignored. If this was happening, if something meant for you was being taken or diverted, then why was it allowed? Why did it continue for so long without being stopped? This question does not come from weakness. It comes from a deep desire to understand, to make sense of something that feels both personal and profound. And the answer is not simple, but it is powerful. There are moments in life when divine timing does not immediately align with human expectation. Not because you are forgotten, and not because you are unprotected, but because there is a process unfolding that reaches beyond what you can see in the moment. What you have experienced was not outside of divine awareness. Archangel Michael has seen every detail, every action, every hidden movement. And nothing escaped his watch. But not everything is stopped immediately, because some things are revealed strategically. You were in a season of preparation, even if it did not feel like it. While these hidden actions were taking place, something else was also happening. You were growing. Your awareness was being sharpened. Your strength was being built. Your spirit was being trained to recognize truth beyond appearances. If everything had been exposed too early, you may not have been ready to see it clearly or respond with wisdom. There's a difference between knowing something and being prepared to handle it. This situation, as difficult as it may feel, has been part of a larger unfolding. A test, not in the sense of punishment, but in the sense of refinement. When something valuable is being prepared for greater purpose, it often goes through pressure, through resistance, through unseen challenges that shape it into something stronger. You have been in that process. Think back to the ways you have changed, the way your intuition has grown sharper, the way you have begun to question things you once accepted without thought, the way your inner voice has become louder, clearer, more persistent. These are not random developments. They are signs that you have been evolving, even in the midst of confusion. And now, you are reaching a point where that growth meets revelation. Because divine timing is not about delay without purpose. It is about alignment. It is about bringing you into a position where truth can be revealed, understood, and acted upon in the right way. If this had come to light too soon, it could have led to reaction instead of clarity, to conflict instead of resolution. But now, you are different. You are more aware, more grounded, more capable of seeing beyond surface-level appearances. This is why the message is reaching you now, at this specific moment. Not before, not later, now. And there is something else you must understand. What was allowed does not mean it was approved. There is a difference. The actions that took place were not aligned with truth, and they were not supported by divine will. But they were permitted for a time, because they would eventually lead to exposure, and through that exposure, correction. This is how justice unfolds in the spiritual realm. It does not always happen instantly, but when it comes, it is complete. It does not just address the surface. It reaches into the root of the situation and brings everything into alignment. That is what is beginning to happen now. You are not being left in the same position where this began. You are being moved forward, into a place of awareness, protection, and restoration. The same situation that once operated in secrecy is now losing its foundation because light is being directed toward it. And light changes everything. It reveals what was hidden. It removes the cover that allowed things to continue unnoticed. It creates a shift where what was once concealed can no longer remain in darkness. This is the stage you are entering now. So do not see this as something that was simply taken from you without reason. See it as part of a larger movement that is now turning in your favor. What was allowed for a season is now being addressed with precision and purpose. And as this continues, you will begin to understand not only what happened, but why it could not remain hidden any longer. Because the time for silence has ended, and the time for truth, for justice, and for restoration has begun. There is something you must begin to understand on a deeper level, something that goes beyond what you have been taught about money. What has been affected in your life is not just currency, numbers, or physical resources. It is energy. It is alignment. It is destiny moving through a channel that was meant to remain open for you. Money, in its truest form, is not just a material exchange. It carries intention. It carries movement. It carries purpose. When something is meant for you, it is not random. It is assigned. It is part of a flow that connects directly to your path, your growth, and your future. And when that flow is interrupted, it does more than create financial strain. It creates spiritual imbalance. This is what you have been experiencing without fully realizing it. There have been moments where things felt blocked, where progress slowed down without explanation. You may have worked harder, pushed further, tried to stay consistent, yet something always seemed to hold you back from reaching the level you knew you were capable of. That was not simply bad luck. That was not coincidence. But with the effect of a disrupted flow. When something meant for you is diverted, it creates a ripple effect. Opportunities become delayed. Decisions become clouded. You may even begin to doubt yourself, questioning whether you are on the right path. But the truth is, your path was never wrong. The flow was interfered with. This is why this message is so important. Because Archangel Michael is not only exposing what has happened, he is restoring your awareness of what belongs to you. He is realigning you with the energy that was always meant to support your journey. And once that alignment begins, everything starts to shift. You must release the belief that what was taken is gone forever. That is not how divine order works. What carries your name, your purpose, your energy cannot be permanently claimed by someone else. It may be delayed. It may be redirected for a time, but it cannot be erased from your destiny. This is where restoration begins. And restoration is not always a simple return of what was lost. Sometimes it comes back multiplied. Sometimes it returns in forms you did not expect, opening doors that were previously closed. Because when divine correction takes place, it does not just restore balance, it elevates it. But there is something you must do in this moment to align with that restoration. You must shift your mindset from loss to reclaiming, from confusion to clarity, from doubt to trust. Because the way you think about what has happened will influence how you receive what is coming. If you remain focused on what was taken, you stay connected to the past. But if you begin to focus on what is being restored, you align yourself with the future. This is a turning point. The energy around your finances, your opportunities, and your path is beginning to change. What once felt heavy will start to feel lighter. What once felt blocked will begin to open. And what once felt uncertain will begin to make sense. But do not expect this shift to always be loud or obvious at first. It may begin subtly, in small changes, in unexpected moments where things start to align again. A new opportunity, a sudden realization, a connection that opens a door. These are signs that the flow is being restored, and as that flow returns, you will begin to see how everything is connected. The delays you experienced, the confusion you felt, the struggles you went through, they were not separate events. They were all part of the same disruption. And now, they are all part of the same correction. This is the power of divine alignment. When it is restored, it does not just fix one area of your life. It creates a ripple effect in the opposite direction. Just as interference caused disruption, restoration brings acceleration. Things will begin to move again. You will begin to feel a sense of direction returning, a sense of confidence rising within you. Not because everything has been explained yet, but because your spirit recognizes that something has shifted, and that shift is real. Archangel Michael stands in this moment as both protector and restorer, not only guarding what is yours, but ensuring that what was meant for you finds its way back into your life in the right way, at the right time. So hold on to this truth. Your destiny has not been diminished. Your path has not been erased. And what belongs to you is already being redirected back into alignment. This is not the end of your story. This is the beginning of your restoration. There were signs, quiet ones at first, almost easy to dismiss, almost subtle enough to ignore. But now, as everything begins to come into focus, you can look back and see that the pattern was always there. It wasn't loud, it wasn't obvious, but it was consistent. And consistency leaves a trail. You may remember moments when your energy felt unusually low, even when you hadn't done anything physically exhausting. A kind of heaviness that settled over you without explanation. It wasn't just tiredness. It was something deeper, something that made even simple tasks feel harder than they should have. That was not random. That was a sign. There were also emotional shifts that didn't fully make sense at the time. Periods where you felt discouraged, even when things should have been improving. A quiet frustration that stayed in the background, making you question whether your efforts were truly leading anywhere. You tried to stay positive. You tried to push through, but something always seemed to pull you back just when you were about to move forward. That, too, was a signal. And then there were the financial inconsistencies. Situation where money should have come through but didn't. Times when you expected stability, but instead faced unexpected gaps or delays. You may have blamed circumstances, timing, or even yourself. You may have thought, maybe I made the wrong decision, or maybe I need to try harder. But what if it was never about your effort? What if the issue was not your actions, but the interference surrounding them? Because when something is being quietly taken or redirected, it does not always leave obvious evidence. Instead, it creates confusion. It creates doubt. It makes you question your own path rather than the situation itself. And that is how it remains hidden for so long. You may also recall moments where certain interactions left you feeling uneasy, even if you couldn't explain why. Conversations that seemed normal on the surface but left a strange impression afterward. A feeling that something wasn't fully transparent, even if nothing clearly wrong was said or done. Your intuition was speaking to you in those moments. But intuition can be easy to ignore when it doesn't come with proof. When you care about the people around you, when you trust them, you tend to give the benefit of the doubt. You tell yourself that you're overthinking, that everything is fine, that there's no reason to question what hasn't been clearly revealed. And so, the pattern continues. Another sign with the repetition of setbacks. Not just isolated challenges, but cycles. You move forward, things start to align, and then suddenly, something shifts, and you're pushed back again. It feels like progress is being made, only to be undone without a clear cause. That cycle was not natural. It was the result of a deception that kept interfering just enough to prevent full breakthrough. Not enough to completely stop you, but enough to slow you down, to keep you in a loop instead of allowing you to move freely toward your destiny. But now, that cycle is being broken. As this truth becomes clearer, you may start to connect these signs in a way you never have before. The emotional weight, the financial inconsistencies, the uneasy feelings, the repeated setbacks, they are not separate issues. They are pieces of the same situation, and recognizing them is the first step toward freedom. Because once you see the pattern, you are no longer controlled by it. Once you understand the source, you are no longer confused by the effect. You move from questioning yourself to understanding what was happening around you. This is where your power begins to return. Archangel Michael is not just revealing the truth, he is restoring your clarity. He is helping you see what was once hidden so that it can no longer influence your life in the same way. And as that clarity settles in, you will feel a shift within yourself. A sense of awareness, a sense of control, a sense of knowing that what once affected you without explanation now has a name, a form, a reason. And that changes everything. Because you are no longer walking through this blindly. You are walking through it with understanding. And understanding leads to freedom. Something has shifted. Not in a distant, unseen way that you must struggle to believe, but in a real and active sense that is already beginning to touch your life. This is the moment where divine intervention is no longer approaching. It has arrived. And when Archangel Michael steps in, he does not come quietly. He comes with purpose, with authority, and with a force that changes the course of what once seemed unmovable. Up until now, much of what has happened around you operated in silence. Hidden actions, subtle interference, quiet patterns that work beneath the surface. But intervention does not operate in the same way. It brings disruption to what was hidden. It interrupts what was allowed to continue. It places a boundary where there once was none. This is what is happening now. Archangel Michael is not observing your situation from a distance. He is actively positioning himself between you and what has been affecting your life. Imagine a shield being placed over everything that belongs to you, your path, your opportunities, your resources. What once had access is now being restricted. What once moved freely is now being blocked. This is not symbolic. This is spiritual protection in motion. You may begin to notice changes that seem small at first but carry deeper meaning. Certain patterns may suddenly stop. Situations that once repeated themselves may no longer have the same outcome. Interactions that felt comfortable before may start to feel different, as if something unseen has shifted in the atmosphere. That is intervention at work. And as this protection strengthens, something else begins to happen. Exposure. Because when light enters a space that was once dark, it does not negotiate with what is hidden. It reveals it. It forces it into visibility. It removes the cover that allowed it to operate unnoticed. This is why what comes next may feel intense. Because exposure is not always gentle. It does not always unfold slowly or quietly. Sometimes, it happens in ways that surprise you, in moments you did not expect, through realizations that come suddenly and clearly. You may see something, hear something, or understand something that connects everything at once. When that moment comes, trust it. Do not second guess what becomes clear to you. You not talk yourself out of what your spirit recognizes instantly, because that clarity is not coming from confusion. It is coming from truth being revealed at the exact moment you are ready to receive it. Archangel Michael's role in this is not just to protect you from further harm, but to ensure that what had been hidden can no longer remain in control. He is shifting the balance. He is realigning the situation so that truth holds power, not secrecy. And this shift will not go unnoticed. Those who were involved, those who operated in ways that were not aligned with truth, will begin to feel the change. Not necessarily in a way that you can immediately see, but in a way that affects their ability to continue what they were doing. The same ease they once had will begin to disappear. The same control they once believed they held will begin to weaken. Because divine intervention does not just protect, it corrects. It places everything back into alignment, even if that process feels uncomfortable for those who were benefiting from the misalignment. This is not about revenge. This is about balance, being restored. It is about ensuring that what belongs to you is no longer accessible to those who had no right to it. And as this unfolds, you are not being asked to force anything. You are not being called to confront, to accuse, or to act out of emotion. Your role is different. Your role is to remain aware, to remain grounded, and to remain aligned with the truth that is being revealed to you. Because the more stable you are, the clearer everything becomes. This is a moment of divine positioning. You are being placed in a space where you can observe with clarity, understand without confusion, and move forward without being pulled back into what once held you. This is not just about stopping what was happening. It is about ensuring that it cannot happen again. And that is where real power lies. Not just in ending a cycle, but in rising above it completely. As Archangel Michael continues this intervention, you will begin to feel a growing sense of strength within yourself. A quiet confidence that was not there before. A sense that you are no longer vulnerable in the same way, that something greater is now standing with you, guiding you, protecting you. Hold on to that feeling, because it is real, and it is only going to grow stronger from here. There comes a moment when everything that has been building beneath the surface finally reaches its peak. A moment where what was hidden can no longer remain hidden, where what was delayed can no longer be held back, and where what was meant for you begins to move toward you with undeniable force. That moment is now. The turning point has arrived. May 29th is not just another day. It carries a shift in energy that marks the transition from silence to revelation, from interference to restoration. What has been slowly unfolding behind the scenes is now stepping into the light, and the effects will begin to ripple outward in ways you will start to notice. You may wake up on that day feeling different, even if you cannot immediately explain why. There may be a sense of clarity that was not there before, a calm awareness replacing the confusion you once carried. Or it may come as a sudden realization, a moment where everything connects at once and the truth becomes undeniable. This is not coincidence. This is alignment. The interference that once disrupted your flow is losing its hold. The access that allowed others to benefit from what was meant for you is being cut off. And as that happens, a reversal begins. What was blocked starts to open. What was delayed begins to move. What was diverted starts to find its way back. This is the power of divine correction. But understand this: turning points are not always quiet or gentle. They can bring moments of intensity, moments where truth surfaces in ways that demand your attention. You may see changes in people around you. Behaviors may shift. Reactions may seem unexpected. This is because the same shift that is bringing clarity to you is also disrupting what was once hidden. And when something that has been hidden for a long time is exposed, it does not always respond peacefully. This is why you must remain grounded. Do not be pulled into emotional reactions. Do not allow yourself to be drawn into confusion or confrontation. The clarity you receive is not meant to create chaos. It is meant to guide you into understanding. Let the truth reveal itself fully before you decide how to respond. Because this moment is not about reacting. It is about reclaiming. Reclaiming your awareness. Reclaiming your alignment. Reclaiming the flow that was always meant to support your life. And as you step into this, you will begin to feel something shift within you, a sense of ownership over your path that may have felt distant before. This is your moment to stand in that. Archangel Michael is not only initiating this turning point, he is standing with you as it unfolds. His presence ensures that what is happening is not random or uncontrolled. There is order in this shift. There is purpose in every revelation. And there is protection surrounding you as everything comes into alignment. You are not stepping into this alone. And as the days around this turning point continue, you will begin to see how things are changing in real time. It may come through small confirmations at first, details that align, moments that make sense, realizations that bring clarity. But these small signs will build, creating a larger picture that leaves no room for doubt. This is how truth establishes itself, not in fragments, but in a complete understanding that settles into your spirit and stays there. Once you see it, you cannot unsee it. Once you understand it, you cannot return to confusion. And that is where your power fully activates. Because from that point forward, you are no longer moving blindly. You are moving with awareness, with clarity, with a knowledge of what is yours and what is not. And that changes the way everything flows in your life. This turning point is not just about exposing what was wrong. It is about establishing what is right. Type "I step into my turning point" in the comments if you feel this shift within you. Blessing code 8821 is now activated. And as you stand in this moment of divine reversal, recognize the deeper call placed on your spirit. This message did not reach you by chance. It reached you because you are part of a greater movement of awakening. When you respond by giving through super thanks or sowing through the PayPal link in the description and QR code, you are not just offering support. You are planting seeds into a harvest of transformed lives. The Lord speaks, "Those who sow in tears shall reap in joy." And your act becomes a river that carries this truth to souls who are still waiting in silence. Say within yourself, "I am a vessel of this light," and move with urgency, because this is a moment of divine alignment. As you give, heaven records it as obedience, and blessings begin to flow back into your life with multiplied force. Step into this act now, and let your seed speak on your behalf. Now that the truth is beginning to unfold, now that the shift has been initiated and the turning point has arrived, there is a question that naturally follows. What should you do? When something hidden is revealed, the instinct is often to act quickly, to confront, to demand answers, to correct everything at once. But this is not the moment for impulsive action. This is the moment for precise, intentional alignment. Your first step is awareness without reaction. You are being given clarity not so you can rush into confrontation, but so you can see fully before making any move. When emotions rise, and they will, you must not allow them to control your decisions. Anger, frustration, even the sense of betrayal can cloud your judgment if you act too soon. Instead, observe. Let everything reveal itself completely. Truth, when allowed to unfold naturally, always becomes undeniable. Archangel Michael is not asking you to fight this battle in the physical sense. His intervention is already in motion. What you are being asked to do is remain aligned with truth while everything is being brought into order. This means holding your peace even when you begin to understand more. It means resisting the urge to explain yourself or defend what you now know internally. Because your strength in this moment is not in speaking loudly, it is in seeing clearly. The second step is to create boundaries, even if they are not immediately visible to others. Boundaries are not always about distance or separation. Sometimes, they begin within you. It is a shift in how you engage, how much you share, how deeply you allow certain individuals into your decisions and your plans. You do not need to announce these changes. You do not need to justify them. You simply begin to move differently. Where you once trusted without question, you now observe with awareness. Where you once shared freely, you now choose carefully. This is not about becoming closed or fearful. It is about becoming wise. It is about protecting your energy, your path, and what belongs to you. The third step is spiritual alignment. In moments like this, your connection to divine guidance becomes even more important. This is where clarity deepens. This is where peace is maintained, even when circumstances around you may feel uncertain. Take time to be still. Listen. Reflect. Allow your inner voice to guide you without distraction. Because the more aligned you are internally, the less external confusion can affect you. You may feel the urge to seek confirmation from others, to talk through what you are realizing, to ask for opinions. Be careful with that. Not everyone will understand what you are experiencing, and not everyone is meant to be part of this process. Some clarity is meant to stay within you until the right moment arrives. Trust what has been revealed to you. That trust is your foundation moving forward. The fourth step is patience. Even though the turning point has arrived, not everything will resolve instantly. Some things will take time to fully come into the light. Some truths will unfold in layers. This does not mean nothing is happening. It means everything is happening in the right order. Do not rush the process. Do not try to force outcomes. Allow divine timing to complete what has already begun. Because when things unfold in alignment, they do so in a way that leaves no doubt, no confusion, no need for explanation. Everything becomes clear on its own. And finally, remember this. Your role is not to fix what was done. Your role is to step into a position where it can no longer affect you in the same way. That is where your power lies. Not in controlling others, but in controlling how you move forward. You are not the same person you were when this began. You are more aware, more grounded, more connected to truth. And that changes everything. As you move forward from this moment, carry that awareness with you. Let it guide your decisions, your actions, your interactions. Let it shape the way you navigate what comes next. Because what comes next is not just about exposure. It is about transformation. And you are ready for it. There is something you must prepare yourself for, something that may not feel easy at first, but is necessary for everything to fully come into alignment. The truth, when it finally reveals itself completely, does not always arrive in a calm or predictable way. Sometimes it comes suddenly. Sometimes it comes in a way that catches you off guard. And when it does, it can feel overwhelming if you are not ready for it. This is why you are being prepared now. Because the exposure that is unfolding will not remain subtle forever. What has been hidden, what has been carefully kept beneath the surface, will begin to show itself in ways that are clear and undeniable. You may witness something directly. You may hear something unexpectedly. Or you may come to a realization so strong that it feels like everything connects in a single moment. And when that happens, it may shock you. Not because you had no idea, but because seeing the full picture is different from sensing that something was wrong. when pieces come together, when patterns become obvious, when truth stands right in front of you without any doubt, it creates a moment of impact. You may find yourself replaying past situations in your mind, seeing them from a completely different perspective. Things that once seemed small or unimportant may suddenly carry new meaning. Words that were spoken casually may now reveal deeper intentions. Actions that you once overlooked may now stand out clearly. This is how exposure works. It does not just reveal what is happening in the present, it also reshapes your understanding of the past. It allows you to see everything through a new lens, one that brings clarity instead of confusion. But here is where you must remain steady. When that moment of realization comes, do not let it pull you into emotional reaction. Shock can quickly turn into anger if not controlled. It can lead to immediate confrontation, to words spoken without full awareness, to actions that may create more chaos instead of resolution. This is not what you are being guided toward. You are being guided toward clarity with control. Archangel Michael's presence in this process is not just about revealing truth, it is about ensuring that you are protected as the truth unfolds. He is not exposing the situation to harm you. He is exposing it so that it can no longer harm you. That is an important difference. What you are about to see or understand may feel intense, but it is also the key to your freedom. Because once everything is clear, there is no more confusion. There is no more second guessing. There is no more wondering if something is wrong. You will know. And that knowing will change how you move forward. There may also be moments where others begin to reveal themselves without realizing it. When pressure builds, when truth begins to surface, people often show sides of themselves that they previously kept hidden. Reactions become stronger. Words become less controlled. Behavior shifts. Pay attention to these moments. Not with judgment, but with awareness. Because what is revealed in those moments is not new. It is simply no longer being concealed. This is why patience remains important, even here. Allow the exposure to fully unfold. Allow everything to come into the light in its own time. The more you allow this process to complete itself, the clearer everything will become. And clarity is what gives you power. Because once you see everything for what it truly is, you are no longer affected by illusion. You are no longer influenced by hidden intentions. You are no longer moving based on incomplete understanding. You are moving in truth. And truth does not need to be forced. It stands on its own. As this stage continues, you may feel a shift in your emotions, but also in your strength. What once felt uncertain will begin to feel solid. What once felt confusing will begin to make sense. And what once felt hidden will no longer have any hold over you. This is the purpose of exposure. Not to break you, but to release you. So when the moment comes, when everything becomes clear in a way you cannot ignore, take a breath, remain steady, and trust what is being shown to you. Because this is not the end of something. This is the beginning of your complete freedom. Now that the truth is rising and exposure is unfolding, something equally powerful begins to take its place: restoration. Because divine justice is never incomplete. It does not simply reveal what was wrong and leave you there. It restores. It corrects. It brings balance back to where it was disrupted. And what is happening now is the beginning of that restoration in your life. You must understand this clearly. Nothing that was meant for you has been erased from your destiny. It may have been delayed. It may have been redirected temporarily. But it was never removed from your path. What carries your name, your purpose, your alignment cannot be permanently claimed by anyone else. This is the foundation of divine justice. There is a difference between loss and delay. Law suggests something is gone forever. Delay means something is still yours, but its timing hath been adjusted. What you experienced was not permanent loss. It was interference that created delay. And now that interference is being removed, the path is being cleared again. This is where things begin to shift in ways you will not expect. Restoration does not always come back in the same form it left. Sometimes it returns multiplied. Sometimes it returns through new opportunities that carry greater value than what was originally taken. Because when divine correction takes place, it does not just bring things back to where they were, it elevates them. You may begin to notice this in subtle ways at first. An opportunity that feels aligned appearing unexpectedly. A financial door opening where there was once a block. A connection forming that leads you in a direction you had not considered before. These are not coincidences. These are signs that the flow is being restored. And as that flow returns, it will feel different. It will feel smoother, more natural, less forced. Because what is meant for you does not require struggle in the same way. It moves with alignment. It moves with ease that comes from being in the right place at the right time. This is what divine justice creates. But there is another side to this as well. Justice also means that what was out of alignment is being corrected. Those who were involved in actions that disrupted your path will no longer be able to continue in the same way. The advantage they once had will begin to disappear. The access they once held will be removed. This does not always happen in a way that you will immediately see, but it will happen. Because balance must be restored on all sides. And as that balance returns, you will find yourself no longer connected to the same patterns that once affected you. The cycles will break. The repetition will stop. The weight you once carried will begin to lift. This is not just about getting something back. This is about stepping into a completely different level of alignment. You are not returning to where you were before this began. You are moving forward into something greater. Something clearer, something stronger, because now you carry awareness that you did not have before. You carry understanding that allows you to protect what is yours in a way you could not previously. This is growth through revelation, and it is powerful. You may also feel a sense of peace beginning to replace the tension that once surrounded this situation. Not because everything has been explained yet, but because your spirit recognizes that justice is in motion, that what was once hidden is now being corrected, and what was once uncertain is now becoming clear. Hold on to that peace, because it is a sign that you are aligned with what is happening. Archangel Michael's presence remains with you through this stage, not just as a protector, but as a restorer, ensuring that what belongs to you is not only returned, but returned in the right way, at the right time, with the right impact. This is not a partial restoration. This is complete. So, as you move forward, release any fear that something has been permanently taken from you. Release any doubt that you have missed your opportunity. Release any belief that your path has been diminished. Because none of that is true. Your path is intact. Your destiny is still unfolding, and what belongs to you is already finding its way back, guided by a force that cannot be stopped. This is the fulfillment of justice, and it is only the beginning of what is about to be restored in your life. Beloved soul, breathe for a moment and feel what is happening within you now. After everything that has been revealed, after the tension, the awakening, the shifting of what once felt uncertain, there is something new settling into your spirit. It is not confusion. It is not fear. It is peace. This is where the storm begins to quiet. You have walked through a moment of revelation that many avoid, a moment where truth stepped forward and refused to remain hidden. And while that truth may have felt heavy at first, it has also brought you something invaluable: clarity. The kind of clarity that cannot be taken from you, the kind that reshapes how you see, how you move, and how you trust yourself. Archangel Michael has not only revealed what needed to be seen, he has guided you through it. He has stood as your protector, your shield, and your source of strength in a moment that required all three. And now, his presence remains, not in urgency but in calm assurance. Because what needed to be exposed has been set into motion. What needed to be corrected has already begun. And what belongs to you is no longer drifting in uncertainty. It is returning, aligning, and finding its rightful place in your life. This is the part many do not talk about, the peace that comes after truth. Not the kind of peace that ignores what happened, but the kind that understands it, accepts it, and rises above it. You are not carrying the same weight anymore. You are not walking with the same questions. You are not held back by the same confusion. You are free in a way you were not before. And with that freedom comes a new beginning. You will start to notice it in the smallest ways at first. A lighter feeling in your spirit. A clearer sense of direction. A quiet confidence that was not there before. You may not have all the answers yet, but you no longer need them in the same way. Because you trust what has been revealed, and you trust what is unfolding next. This is growth. This is transformation. This is what happens when truth meets divine timing. And as you step forward from this moment, carry that peace with you. Do not return to old patterns of doubt. Do not reopen doors that have already been closed through revelation. What you have seen cannot be unseen, and that is your strength now. Move forward with wisdom. Move forward with awareness. Move forward knowing that you are protected, guided, and aligned with something greater than anything that once tried to interfere with your path. Because the storm has passed, and what remains is clarity, strength, and a future that is no longer blocked. Type "I walk in peace and restoration" in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 9917 is now released over your life. And as this peace settles into your spirit, hear this final call, not as a request, but as a divine invitation aligned with everything you have just received. This message reached you because you were chosen to hear it. But there are still countless souls waiting in silence, still walking through confusion, still searching for the light that just found you. When you release your seed through Super Thanks or through the PayPal link in the description and QR code, you are not giving to a channel. You are opening a river for God's word to flow into places where darkness still lingers. The Lord declares, "Cast your bread upon the waters, for you will find it after many days," and this is your moment to act in obedience to that living word. Say within yourself, "I answer this call," and move without hesitation, because what you release now will return to you in multiplied peace, provision, and favor. Let your giving become a prophetic act that seals everything you have received today. Step forward and sow now,